Okay, everyone, this is Jen Hopwood. I'm the chair of the Conservation Commission, and it's the August 18th, 2021 meeting of the Conservation Commission. And with us tonight, we have, why am I repeating?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm hearing an echo from you. And from everyone, I guess. I don't know.
Is it just me who echoes?
Is everybody else muted? That might be the problem. Everyone else should be muted.
Yeah, if everyone else wants to mute while Jen's talking, that might be the best way.
Happened before. All right, can everyone hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we have tonight Brian McCann, Lucas Thomas, who's the vice chair, Dabney Bowen, and myself. So we have a quorum. And we also have our director, Tim Bishop, and Sarah Navesey running the meeting for us, and Ed Jones. So Roman numeral 1, Conservation A, Bills and Communications, approval of Conservation Commission special meeting minutes of July 7th, 2021. All those in favor, if you just want to raise your hand. All right. Okay, the next is 1C, approval of Secretary's Bill for Special Conservation Commission meeting, July 7th, 2021. Consensus to approve those minutes. Okay. Roman numeral 1D, approval of Conservation Commission special meeting minutes of July 23rd, 2021. All those in favor to approve? Okay. And E, approval of Secretary's Bill for Special Conservation Commission meeting, July 23rd, 2021. Okay, everybody? Okay. Roman numeral 2, old business. 2A, Michael Trom, president from Greater Fairfield Board of Realtors, proposed Pocket Park, 355 Burroughs Road, status. That's you, Ed, right?
Yes, can you hear me? Okay. Yes, we all met out there. Jeff Mender, Mike, Mary Hogue, and I forget what one other young lady was there. So we're all on the same page. Identified the trees that need to come out, and the first preparation. They've ordered the benches, so we should be receiving those, I guess, in the next couple of weeks. So things are moving along. Hopefully, we'll be planning this late September, October.
Questions, anyone? Wait. Okay, thanks, Ed. All right, Roman numeral 2B, deep notice of tentative determination to approve an application for consumptive diversion of water permit and notice of informational hearing, Aquarian Water Company of Connecticut, application number DIBC-2002-004971. All the parties who wanted to file reply briefs to the briefs that were filed after our hearing with hearing officer DeShades, and we are waiting for her recommendation, and apparently she has no time frame by which she has to make her decision. So everybody's waiting. That's where we are with that. Okay? All right, are you hearing me okay? Am I all right? Roman numeral 3, new business, the Southwest Conservation District request for donations. See attached the letter we have from them dated August 9th, 2021. Every year they ask us for $1,500 from our budget, and every year we give it to them. Does anyone have questions or concerns? Anything you want to say, Tim or Ed?
We should just double check that the first select woman's office hasn't paid any part of this bill. In the past, under the Flato administration, I guess there was some confusion and I guess they got double dipped or we split the cost. But that just needs to be checked, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do we
I have
have
no
a
problems with
consensus?
that. I think they're a good organization.
Great, thank you. Questions, anyone, or can we have a consensus to approve the payment in coordination with the First Selectman's office and the town? All right, okay, thank you. You got that, Sarah? Okay, so, sorry. We are at Roman numeral 3B, Ash Creek Association, Sand Spit Conservation Presentation, and I believe we have Gail Robinson and is it Rick Landau with us tonight? If you want to unmute them and I'll mute. Hi, welcome. Go right ahead.
Thank you very much. We also have our consultant, Brian Quinn, is here this evening as well. So, Gail, you want to unmute yourself? You want to start us off? Thank you for having us, by the way. Yeah, we can't hear you, Gail. Are you muted?
Oh, okay. Okay, here I go. So I'm unmuted.
All right. Okay.
All right. And now let's see if I can share the screen. Can you see the screen?
I can.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for allowing us to bring this issue to your attention. We want to share some information with you about a serious erosion problem in an area that borders both Fairfield and Bridgeport. Rick and I are on the board of the Ash Creek Conservation Association, and Brian Quinn has been consulting to us for probably 10 years now. We're a grassroots environmental organization that was formed 18 years ago to protect the Ash Creek tidal estuary. I think you know how extraordinary this area is. You know, most of our tidal wetlands have disappeared due to development. And as a conservation commission, you also know that wetlands are a living shoreline that protects hundreds of homes in Fairfield as well as Bridgeport. Okay, let me start by just explaining what area of the tidal estuary we're talking about. So the sand spit is located at the mouth of the channel that leads from the Salt Fence Marina. It's across from the jetty, and let me see. Okay, so here's the jetty, and here's the sand spit. It's jointly owned by Fairfield and Bridgeport. It used to be entirely, actually Great Marsh Island and the sand spit used to be entirely in Bridgeport. The boundary line actually went around like this and then went down the middle of Ash Creek. But in 1954, that was changed because your marina was going in, and to accommodate the dredging for the marina, it was decided to, this section, say that, about a third of the tip would be part of Fairfield. And Great Marsh Island was also divided in 1954, with half being owned by Fairfield and half by Bridgeport. That is now Fairfield Open Space over here, and Aztec Land Trust now owns this section of Great Marsh Open Space. So let's just take a look at an aerial view of the sand spit 10 years ago. This was prior to Irene, Sandy, and the 2019 dredging of the channel. Now, this is a view 10 years later. So this is the current view. And I think you can see from the previous view just, whoops, not doing that, just how much land has lost, especially on the bottom portion here, the southern portion. It's also shorter, and you can't see it in the photo, but it's lost height as well. We've been concerned about the sand spit for some time. Fairfield's 2019 dredging was particularly aggressive. I think you can see how sharp the cut was made, and it caused an alarming amount of erosion. That's what caused us to contact your conservation department and town engineer, as well as the Connecticut DEP, who provided the 10-year permit for the dredging in the first place. And they also oversee any remediation from the damage. It was the DEP who requested more information and resulted in us commissioning a scientific sand spit analysis, which was done by Brian Quinn and his team. So this is, Brian, do you want to step in and explain this slide? Brian, can you unmute yourself and talk about this slide? Okay, guess not. So we had Brian Quinn of One Nature, who's a New York consultant, and Dr. Steve Danzer, who's done a number of projects for us, including the Ash Creek Ecological Master Plan in 2019 and the sand spit restoration of 2014. They discovered a loss of 60 linear feet over a 10-year period from 2006 to 2016. Based on the current rate of erosion, they predicted the sand spit to disappear by 2036, 15 years from now, or perhaps sooner if there was a major storm event. And Brian, I don't know, are you on now? No, okay. All right. So let's.
It looks like he's frozen. Oh, can you hear us, Brian? I guess he can't hear us.
All right, I gave him the phone number to call in on, so hopefully he'll take a look at his text message. Let's see, so they also noticed changes to Great Marsh Island. They found that the island had lost about 25,000 square feet of intertidal marshland over a 29-year period from 1991 to 2020. They hypothesized that this may be due to increased wave action caused by the reduction, excuse me, in the size of the barrier spit, the sand spit. Our scientists confirmed that once the sand spit is lost, Great Marsh Island will be the next part of the tidal estuary to disappear, and that was confirmed by Dr. Orson years ago. He was the habitat restoration consultant to Save the Sound, who we had brought in probably about 15 years ago. So that's just understood that it's like a chain reaction. Once the barrier spit is gone, then Great Marsh Island goes, and then we lose our tidal wetlands to wave action. So here's a picture of the area. You see the sand spit in the foreground, Great Marsh Island. You've got the marina over here, and this is where the dredging occurs, right through here. And then if we lose all that, if we lose the sand spit and Great Marsh Island, you can see how the waves could come right up through here. And once you do that, you can have flooding to the homes all at the far end. And some of those homes are in Fairfield. It's not just Black Rock, but Black Rock is pretty flat up to the Fairfield Avenue. So we've actually got 194 homes in Black Rock that could be affected. So here is the storm surge map. When the Sandspit, Great Marsh Island, and the tidal wetlands are gone, we're going to be dealing with greater residential flooded. And as I said, there's about 200 homes in Black Rock and a lot more in Fairfield. In the past, the Sandspit was high enough to withstand a Category 2 hurricane, and you can see the coding down here. Blue is Category 1, and the pink is Category 2. If you look at the storm surge map, you can see the Sandspit is at a height where now even a Category 1 or a tropical storm could wash over it. If the storm is actually strong enough, it could take out the Sandspit entirely. And we had a channel that was separating the mainland from the Sandspit in both Irene and Sandy. So that process was starting with those storms. But those weren't major storms. We get to Category 1 hurricane or higher, and it's going to be a different story. So what's causing the erosion? There's three causes of the erosion: natural events like Irene and Sandy, rising sea levels from global warming, and Fairfield's jetty prevents sand from being blown along Fairfield's beaches and reaching the Sandspit and replenishing it. Also, Fairfield's marina requires dredging of the channel about every 5 to 7 years. Depends on how many storms there are. This has been going on since the 1950s, but the boats are getting bigger and the dredging is getting deeper and wider to accommodate them. The dredging operations cut into the Sandspit and remove the sand. So I just want to show you the impact of one storm, Irene, and you can see here the waves coming over and washing over the Sandspit and the result afterwards, the devastation to the vegetation. And then, of course, we've got a 1-2 punch with Sandy, and these are just photos before and after Sandy. Another one before and after. You can see all the vegetation washed away, and this is where the channel was formed. And then a final one before and after. So I know you're familiar with CIRCA and the data from 2019 that estimates the amount of sea level rise for our Long Island Sound shoreline. By 2036, our sea level will have risen by a foot or more since the year 2000. And of course, sea level rise is just going to keep increasing over time. With higher sea levels come more frequent and more severe storms. These projections suggest more washovers for the Sandspit and the possibility of losing the Sandspit in just one severe storm. Living shorelines are being employed in East Haven and other areas to deal with the flooding that comes from rising sea levels. The Sandspit and tidal wetlands at Ash Creek are what's meant by a living shoreline. It protects land along the tidal estuary from flooding and erosion. And some communities are building living shorelines from scratch. That's really expensive. We're lucky to have one, so we're trying to encourage Fairfield and Bridgeport to jointly act together to save the one that we have. So let me just show you, we're concerned not just with the 2019 dredging, but Fairfield's dredging trends. The dredging projects seem to be getting bigger and bigger, and they're removing more and more sand. Fairfield has told the press that larger scale dredging is being required because boats are getting bigger and have bigger hulls. But our perspective, of course, is that we shouldn't let our tidal wetlands be destroyed to accommodate boaters. The marina isn't going to go away, but the dredging doesn't have to be so aggressive. our recommendations for Fairfield's dredging is that instead of a 10-year permit, we should be taking out a 5-year permit every, when the renewal comes up in 2023, just so that we can evaluate the health of the tidal estuary every 5 years. And we just don't have that luxury of assuming that the sand spit is going to be here forever, when we know that the next big storm could take out the sand spit, or, that in 15 years, with the current erosion, it's expected to disappear. Now, we had made this recommendation as an organization to the DEP in 2014 during the last 10-year permit when that was approved, but it was not supported by the DEP at that time. They were, they still wanted to do the 10-year permit, and we also wanted the sand not to go over to Jennings Beach and to stay on the sand spit, or at least have some sand, put back on the sand spit from another location in Fairfield. So that didn't happen as well. The trend for deeper and wider dredging to accommodate larger boats should stop. We need to protect our tidal wetlands. Let boaters with large boats go to another marina. Sand should be replenished on the sand spit when it's dredged. It doesn't have to be replenished in a way that blocks the channel. That's always the concern by the engineers. The erosion is actually occurring on the south side of the spit, and it is also losing height. So those are areas that the sand can be put. We're recommending that Fairfield remediate the damage done by the 2019 dredging. There will be a meeting with the DEEP, Fairfield, and Bridgeport to discuss this sometime in the fall. We also want to address the erosion issues that have been occurring prior to the 2019 dredging, because this obviously all didn't come about as all the erosion as a result of that 2019 dredging. In fact, back in 2014, we had presented a plan for habitat restoration to Fairfield and Bridgeport to address the larger erosion issue that had occurred after Irene and Sandy. And they were going to use federal funds that had come through, the Sandy funding process at that time. But the administration's changed over, and we didn't get a chance to move forward with that. Now we may have another opportunity for both Fairfield and Bridgeport to go after some of the ISAIS federal funds that came to the state of Connecticut through the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Grant Program. It seems to have been made for something like this, like reconstructing and restoring a sand spit. There's a deadline of January 2022 for the application, so Bridgeport and Fairfield would have to act fairly quickly. One caveat to this grant is that any damage caused by a specific party by negligence or, that could be addressed, in a court of law or whatever, has to be repaired first. And of course, that would be the dredging from 2019, because that was under the jurisdiction of the 10-year permit that says that any damage has to be remediated. But it is an opportunity, this grant. Furthermore, Fairfield and Bridgeport need to jointly manage the Ash Creek tidal estuary to protect their living shoreline from further erosion. And I just want to show you, we did have a shovel-ready program. This is the first page of the schematic design that we had hired Brian Quinn and his company One Nature to develop. And it's got specifications for plantings, the amount of sand, grading, layout. This is not something, obviously, we're asking Fairfield to fund. This would come out of federal, funds for shoreline restoration. Back in 2014, the cost was about $300,000. Today, we estimate the cost to be about $500,000. This plan, if updated, would give Fairfield and Bridgeport the foundation it needs to go after federal grants from FEMA and NOAA. And we would like either Fairfield or Bridgeport to help us pay to develop an updated version of this plan so that we can have a shovel-ready plan ready to go for federal grant purposes. We expect to meet with officials from Fairfield like Tim Bishop and Bill Hurley within the next few weeks. This fall, we'll meet with the DEP, Bridgeport, and Fairfield to discuss the erosion issues in Ash Creek. I assume we'll be discussing the damage from the 2019 dredging, but also hopefully the larger picture of the habitat restoration for the sand spit that needs to occur. And finally, what we hope is that this area that just hasn't been managed by either municipality for decades will finally be managed jointly and protected by the two municipalities, Fairfield and Bridgeport. Our tidal wetlands are precious, even more so now that we're dealing with rising sea levels and greater flooding. And for way too long, the Ash Creek tidal estuary has been managed by neither Fairfield nor Bridgeport. So if the two municipalities meet to manage and join these tidal wetlands, that would be fantastic. If not, they could be gone soon and forever. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gail. And anyone else? Mr. Landau or anyone else?
I don't know if Brian was able to ever connect. Brian, can you talk? No,
Trying to
we
talk,
can't,
but it
hear.
doesn't seem like it's
We can't
working.
hear.
That's too bad. Yeah, no, I didn't have anything else to add to that. That was our collective presentation. But if you have any questions, we will try to handle them. It would really be helpful if Brian was able to. But if we can't get to the answers now to your questions, we'll get back to you.
I thought maybe he was on it. There was a little blue around him at one point there.
Yeah, you can't see.
Did you want to?
He is, Brian Quinn is on, and he's unmuted, it just doesn't seem like we could hear him.
I guess you still can't hear me now, is that right?
Oh, there we go, now
No,
we
we
can.
got you.
Now you can hear me. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I'm glad it's working now. I have literally nothing to add to Gail's wonderful presentation, but I'm happy to help answer questions.
Questions, anyone?
I just would like to add that, so my name is Dabney Bowen, and in addition to being on the commission, I'm also the estuary director for the River Lab program, where we run our program from the part of the sand spit that you're referring to. So if it would be helpful, I would love to be part of any conversations that you have with Tim. I understand one of the reasons why I'm the director is I specifically asked to be because that estuary is vital to the marine health of our Long Island Sound. So I'm happy to be a part of that conversation and support you and help you in whatever way you can.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. There is somebody else who has a question.
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Gail, Brian. Great presentation, very informative. I had one question on, you mentioned redistribution of the dredging material on various locations vertically and at the south side of the spit. Would you foresee any logistical challenges with the redistribution of the material in the locations you see fit? I wasn't sure how it was previously done. Was it mechanical dredging or, with clamshell bucket, or was it vacuum pumped wet material? I was just asking with the redistribution on the spit, because would we be destroying any habitat to get the amount of material onto the spit from the Bridgeport side?
Well, let me just ask, Tim, are you talking about the remediation from the 2019 dredging or the larger habitat restoration?
I guess moving forward, during the next dredging event, to relocate that material onto the spit, would you foresee any of those challenges with the actual physical redistribution?
I don't know whether you could put that dredged material onto the sand spit. I think that's something we'll have to discuss and look into. But I do know that for the remediation in the past, what Fairfield has done for dredging events like the 2019 one was to come in with enough sand to build up the sand spit by a foot and shape it into dunes and then put plantings in. So that's what we're looking for this time around. But going forward with the dredging, maybe Brian has something to say about that. But I don't think it's just as simple as just taking the dredged materials and dumping it on the sand spit.
Yeah, I think if I could just interject, previously what Fairfield had gotten sand from Sasko Beach parking lot that there's like fine sand. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, actually it was Southport Harbor parking lot, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, there's sand fine beach sand that apparently they collect and that blows into the parking lot. They were able to collect and bring and deposit onto the sand spit. And I believe it's brought in by the truckload.
Right.
But Brian, you can, if you have anything else to mention on that.
Yeah, I'm actually, I'm not very familiar with the Southport parking lot sand. I know, my understanding is that the sand that was dredged from the channel was used to replenish sections of Jennings Beach. But I guess this committee would know better than I haven't read the reports. I've only heard anecdotally that information.
No, that's correct.
Certainly, if it was appropriate if it was appropriate for Jennings Beach, it would be appropriate for this situation. In terms of the logistics of doing it, every dredging operation is a messy operation, and there's certainly things to watch out for. But the access is very good to the barrier spit from the channel. I mean, there's a navigable channel that gets very close to it, and it seems to me like, of all the beach restorations I've been involved in, this one seems like one of the easier, easier decisions in terms of just, from an environmental ethic perspective. It's such a relatively small beach that would have such a large impact on the inland area, and it's still readily accessible from the channel. It seems like there must be a way to do it.
Yeah, I would think, a race, engineering, consulting with One Nature, Brian Quinn's organization, could figure out, where the sand should come from and can it come from the dredging and, how to qualify the quality of the sand and where it should go.
And it's going to, anything in an ocean environment is not very static, but it's going to be depending on how deep the dredge is. Also, the deeper you go, the different kind of materials you get. So as Gail's graphic showed, when you're going into these 30,000+ type dredge events, as opposed to what was 7-something thousand a few years ago, the material changes that you get out of it. So anyway, I should stop talking because technically I don't have the answer.
Yeah, I mean, I do know that some of the material that was dredged was put in the back area of Jennings Beach. It's not fine beach sand. So that's why, when we've had remediation in the past, it's been from Fairfield. They have brought in fine beach sand that basically came off of the parking lot areas.
Anyone else have questions? Am I mute? And
Hello?
are you, I'm sorry.
I'm Dick Mahusky.
Oh, I'm sorry. There you are. Thank you.
Okay. So can you hear me? All right. So I'm Dick Mahusky and I live on Colonial Drive in Fairfield. I'm the secretary of the Flood and Erosion Control Board. And at our meeting, we had our meeting last night. And our meeting last night, we briefly discussed this topic of the sand spit. So we do have an awareness of the Ash Creek Conservancy's desire to restore the spit. We understand, as was mentioned here, there's an upcoming meeting with Mr. Hurley and Mr. Bishop. And we will, and also we expect there will be technical representatives from the Conservancy there. That may be Brian, I'm not sure of that. So we, Fairfield Flood and Erosion Control Board, we will have a presence at that meeting and to join in the conversation and gain a better understanding of the technical details of this erosion mechanism. After that, our board will consider if there is an appropriate role for us in this initiative. So we are interested and we're looking forward to learning more about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here. Anyone else? I do want to say that an incredible amount of work and effort and wonderful presentation, and all your materials is wonderful. I know it's hard to hear
Thank
me.
you.
I would personally be out there planting before the storms hit this weekend if you wanted me to. So
Thank you.
very worthy cause.
We
So,
appreciate it.
Tim, tell the commission and what exactly we can do, or if anything, and do we need a vote? What do we need to do?
Sounds like the first step is to for Gail and I and the Conservancy to get on board and get something on the schedule as soon as possible. I did speak with Bill Hurley about earlier, late morning today. So he's aware he was going to try and join, but he had a conflict tonight. But I think that would be a first step on the Fairfield side to get the ball rolling and the discussion, the discussion happening, to plan next steps. So I'm happy to work with Gail and her team to at least get that started.
Right, so that's how this commission will be involved. We obviously don't have jurisdiction over this natural resource, but we can have you be involved. Yeah.
That would be great.
Of course. Is everyone else okay with that? Any questions? Obviously, Tim, you're in charge, so we're happy to have you do that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a great, it's an invaluable resource for many reasons, and it's kind of a no-brainer. So we'll, like you said, start the discussion, discuss, the management plan proposal revisions for restoration, future dredging, and future funding opportunities that Gail mentioned. So once that's on the books, I'll let everyone on the commission know, as our progress moves forward.
Great, yes, we'll have it on our agenda in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
All right, so we'll sign off now then, let you go on with the rest of your meeting. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having us, and we look forward to meeting with you, Tim.
Yes, look forward to hearing from you, Tim. Bye-bye.
Likewise. Thank you.
Okay, Roman numeral 4, informational conservation crew work summary. Ed, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I just unmuted myself. Well, this morning we went out and we started up doing water sampling again. We had a problem with the equipment. That's for the Unified Water Study, would save the sound. And this afternoon we helped clean up the Hoyden's barn. Apparently, Parks Department is going to have their own maintenance crews now. It's being separated from DPW. So we're going to provide some room up there for their equipment. They're going to be running out of the golf course, Smith Richardson Golf Course. And I guess tomorrow we have Deep coming down to install some water level monitors. They're going to do one installation at Tide Gates in back of Fire Training Center. I guess they do a 10-day continuous record of the tidal action on either side, what attenuation that the gates give, etc. And we're just slugging along on the trails. Still having a lot of trees coming down. Resurfacing some areas that washed out with all those big rains we had. Never seems to end. But other than that, there's nothing remarkable.
Thank you. Any questions, anyone?
I've always wanted to ask you one question, Ed.
Go right ahead.
Is there ever any plan to remove the old farm equipment in almost all of the open spaces?
That was put there by Tom Stanky, so, those are kind of monuments to Tom, I guess you would have to say. Those are artifacts that he collected off of properties over the years that were being subdivided. And the ones that were in any kind of shape we put out on the open spaces, just as a historical value. Most of the areas were farmed at one time.
Sure. A lot of them are overgrown and falling apart.
Yeah. Falling apart's okay, but it's got to keep the growth out from around them.
Limitations now, but my daughter fell and punctured herself.
Oh, gosh.
Okay,
oh, God.
We got to talk to the town attorney about this right away.
I'm just kidding. No, but I'm just wondering because, it in some places they're really cool, but in other places, like in Brett Woods, there are two that are completely overgrown and not even near the trail anymore. So I was just curious.
In Brett Woods? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, so if you're coming through the pine forest along the pond, right before you get to the little land bridge that divides the marshland there, as you're going towards the main road, as you're going towards the gravel road, on the right, back in those woods, covered in poison ivy is a piece of equipment. I mean, that's just one of probably a dozen examples that I could think of where...
That may be one that was just left out in the woods.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I think a lot of
ago.
The one in Lake Mohegan is nice. It's like right along the trail. You can see it, but I think some of them are just old remnants. There are a couple in that
maybe, yeah.
off of Hulse Highway. Anyway, just always curious about that.
Yeah, because I don't think there was any
Scouts.
actually put out in Brett Woods. That's why it was. I drew a blank on it.
Yeah.
But I'll go in and look over by the pine.
I'd be happy to take you on a tour
grove,
of all the old farm equipment that I've seen over the years.
Yeah, we should bring Tim with us. He wants to see some of these areas.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Tim, I'm sure, is very popular right now. Everybody wants to know Tim thing.
Tim, I have talked to Jen about having some commission field trips just to get to know our open spaces a little bit better. So that would be great. And anytime you want to visit
I'm
any
happy
of them,
to get out.
Great. I go to all of them on a regular basis. Would love to take you with me.
Great.
Let me
in.
know. Ed's giving me a tour. We're going out again tomorrow, so
Nice.
anytime you want to go out, I got my boots ready.
Great.
Okay, all right. Other, does anyone, Tim, do you have anything or anyone have other you want to talk about?
I have some if no one else does. Just a few things. I had made a list up to spread the word. In order, I had previously mentioned in the email the Connecticut DEP Inland Wetland Training Program for municipalities. I'd sent out an email from my conversation with I can't think of her name, Darcy. That has not taken off yet, but as soon as I find out, I will pass that along, and we can discuss that training. It's very helpful. Second point is I met with Tim Herbst yesterday, discuss just a few things and meet for the first time. He offered a training course as well for land use related issues that he thought would be helpful. It sounded like he had done it in the past and could combine wetlands, P&Z, and ZBA and land use related topics, procedures that would be helpful. That's another option for us as well as other town staff and departments. He was very happy to do that after hours or on a Saturday or something. So that's something we could consider in the future. Third thing is I got an email today from Mary Hogue with this naturalist training program offered by Audubon. I could look into that, and she said it would be, helpful to all members. She's taken it herself. I figured I'd mention just a few training items that are out there for everyone on the commission. Should we choose to move forward with any? Fourth item, dash plaques. I had those made. They're laminated in the office. I believe Rick has one. He has the only one. Those were going to get mailed with tonight's agenda, but that didn't get to the mail. So if I see you before the next meeting, they'll be in the office, or if you stop by. Otherwise, I'll make sure Joe puts them in the agenda packets for the next meeting. Last item, just a couple things I've been working on internally. I guess this is probably the right venue just to pass along verbally. I'm physically rewriting the permit applications for wetlands permits, full and short versions. I think the ones we have are terrible, not user friendly, and do not give us enough information on the ecological and land use side that we should be getting. I pulled permits from 8 other permit applications from about 7 or 8 other towns in our area, and I'm cherry picking good points and questions from each application that the department should be gathering info ahead of time from the applicant. So that's in the works. I'm more than halfway done with that application, just to let you guys know. Eventually, my plan to do that is coinciding with putting those out ahead of time, because the town has told me that we're going to go to an online permitting system. So I would like to have a good paper permit before I have a less than below average online permit. So that will be happening. I've also been told we're contracting a new website developer, so that would probably coincide with the online permitting system. And then we have approval, and it's already in the works for It's scheduled to roll out hopefully by January. Our new wetlands maps for the town, which should alleviate most problems with inland versus tidal wetlands in town. So, bunch of things going on internally that I think affect us all. And I think all of them are going to be really a good thing, for us as a department. Trickles to all of you on the commission. And I think really just reconnects with the taxpayers and our residents, and hopefully make things straightforward, make more sense, be user friendly, and so on. So I just figured I'd let everyone know where we are in the town itself, with moving forward in the department.
By
That's
the way,
all I
I've
had.
taken that both the Audubon Naturalist and the DEEP Master Conservation programs, and they are
Excellent.
excellent, and I highly
Yeah,
recommend them.
definitely good. I've taken it twice myself, the 16 version and then the 20 version that got revamped. Darcy said the department was porting it over to Yukon to go onto a new platform. So it might be the same content as the 20 version, but it'll just be on a different platform. So when I sent that email out, she said it was going to be a few weeks. So we're probably pretty close at that point. I'm guessing maybe first week of September or so. So we can discuss rolling that out to staff and commissioners. It's nothing but helpful, even whether you know a lot on the biological, ecological side or not. It's a good refresher, hydric soils, vegetation, all that stuff. So that's great, and they're good for everybody.
Yes, please remind us to make sure we get that done, so we all
Definitely.
take it. That would be great. It'd be great. I know I need it. Did you have online permitting in Richfield already?
We do. We were paper dinosaurs up until April, and converted online. I think it went effective May. I haven't heard any feedback, for better or worse, on either side, either the user applicant side or the board or the town for that matter. It seems pretty streamlined. The output we get as a board, as I get as a board member, I am still a paper guy. I like big site plans and stacks of paper to look at. I think it's easier versus clicking on a PDF and trying to view a site plan on a project on your computer screen. So that part I don't like personally, but the interface is laid out very well. It's got columns of what's in your checklist and then a hyperlink to, existing site conditions or a soil scientist, report or whatever. You just click on it and it opens PDF. So I think it's obviously eliminates the paper aspect and the bulkiness of shipping, huge wads of paper and plans to, us, the board members. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just easier for someone to sit at home and start a online application. If they don't finish, then, they can pick it back up and don't have to deal with coming to town hall between 8:30 and 4:30 and, filling out application, I think it's just user friendly. It's in the right century that we should be online and not dealing with blue or green application forms with tiny lines that you can't write in.
I did want to say one thing about if we were talking, I know Megan brought it up at one point. The next time when we get a big application in the wetlands, that seems like a good one for you, Tim. Can we do a walk about together on something? So just so we could all relearn, I do it, but I really could use a refresher and with the plans. And I know we're not allowed to talk to each other, so we'll have to do it right, obviously, but I'd love to do that with you. next time you feel it's a good time to do it.
Yeah, that'd be great. I agree. I personally, our board does site walks as a group at 8:30 on Sunday mornings. Maybe once we're really back to normal in the world, that we might want to consider that if we're allowed to. Just it's no collaboration between the board members or the applicant. Just simple. We're in your backyard. We're looking where you want to put your pool or whatever. It's staked out. Now we can see it. It's much different feeling when you go back to look at the site plan. That it's like, oh, okay, I was there. I got eyes on it. I know what it looks like. That kind of thing. So.
Right. That'd be great. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Anything? Okay. Thank you, everyone. It's been a great meeting. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Dabney?
I'll second.
Luke? All right. We're out. Brian? Okay. Thank you, Tim. Good to see you.
Great. Thank you all. You
Thanks,
too.
Jen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Everyone.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks.
Enjoy
Dabney,
Nantucket.
have a good time.
Thanks.